all over again because, you know, that's not in that picture. Well, yeah, it's there. When you put the 3D on, you see the stuff that you don't see in 2D.
Mm-hmm. That's the amazing part.
That's the amazing part. And everything matches. No matter what you see, the movements all match up to every single thing that you see going on. It's the movement to the whole piece. And it's original music, you know, to the thing. But it shows you it is 3D. Has always aligned itself well to animations. It aligns itself well to computer games today. A computer game is almost 3D to begin with. And it aligns itself to sci-fi. That's where its biggest things are. And you know, like we've done a cooking show in 3D. It actually does, it looks well in a cooking show. Because you're getting this, because you're in a confined area and you're seeing the stuff being done in a confined area. Mm-hmm. And the camera's not that, camera's put in, you know, 6-7 foot, right. So you're getting to see everything within the screen really well. It works, but it doesn't work on anything else. It's cost prohibitive, and they don't understand that. The Toshiba, which we're talking about, it's really a nice idea, but they screwed it all up. So, I don't know what they were thinking.
I'm still anxious to see it, though.
Oh, we'll get to see it.
They were focused on doing it without glasses.
Well, we'll be at CES this year. We'll see it.
Yeah, so expect, like, last year 3D was big. Expect 3D to be bigger this year.
Yeah. Nobody, I'll tell you, from the National Cable Show, the cable people hate it. The people that produce productions for it hate it. And the people that work for the companies that have studios that are owned by the TV production companies basically hate it. And they'll tell you they hate it. And we went to the thing the other night, and the people at the event know how much their studios hate what they've done. Well, it's going to cost me $175 million more. We're going to have to add $175 million more to this budget to do what you want to do, and it's not going to make the money back. They won't even tell you how much money Avatar cost to make. When they don't tell you how much it cost to make, it means the movie didn't make as much money as they're trying to say it did. And since the 2 out of every 3 theaters in the world can't show 3D, it made it off of 2D no matter what they're saying. The largest preponderance of 3D sets in the world are in the United States, and there's only like 3,000 total screens capable of doing it. And it's not the screens, it's the... Okay. Today, a lot of the theaters basically hard drive their movies. Basically, you know, the big rolls of film they used to have, they don't have anymore. They got it on a hard drive. The systems are not designed to show 3D movies. So they're like 3,000...
They have to convert a theater for 3D.
They have to convert a theater, and there's only been like 3,000 theaters converted. And the systems are also... most screens are designed for two cameras on. 3D is only a 1-camera system. So, it basically, in a sense, the theater owners love it because with only one thing, we don't need as many personnel to run it. But it isn't designed to be fixed if you break the film either.
Really?
Yeah. Well, if you break a film, a regular film, you just go boop, put the thing and it's back on. Not in a 3D thing because you've got to sit there. You know, you basically got to have your glasses and sit there and do it. And you know, you're sitting there looking at. You don't have an actual 3D monitor on your editing thing to sit there and splice it back together. So you go, well, because you got to understand one thing in film: the sound is ahead of the picture.
You didn't know that.
So anything you cut at the break, you know, basically it affects what comes behind it, the sound. So you can end up. They haven't faced that problem yet because what they're doing is they're bicycling in brand new reels of film before the thing wears out, which is costing them more money again. It is so god awful expensive to do 3D. I mean,
but you love it, don't you?
You loved it. You love to spend an extra $7 per person to go to a 3D movie.
Well, you know, some movies are really cool in 3D. Some it doesn't make as much difference.
Effects movies are really good. I mean, but I did hear the new Clash of the Titans. They said, okay. I mean, a long time ago, I did stuff for one of the bigger studios in Hollywood, and the boss's nephew said, "Well, we can do anything those computers can do with less people in half the time." Didn't make any difference. They basically shot everything in computers. Now, you know that 3D stuff? We don't need to computers to do it. We can do it the way we used to do it with the ink and pen. So computers are neat, except for the fact they're slower than humans. Because you not only have to, you still have to do the frame, and then you have to put it into the computer. And so you store them easier, so you don't have to do the same, you don't have to do, if you've got this movement, you didn't get this movement. So it's easier to library. But you know how they used to do it? Goofy, I want Goofy's arms to go like, and they go to a, okay, here's Goofy going, that was how difficult it was then. Now they go to the computer and say, you know, I want Goofy to go, so they sit there and they go, and then they say, oh, they're over here, okay, then they've got to make you a copy and go over here. Where before, you know, when they go, oh, okay, let's go over to the library, and the Goofy wants to, okay, here, pick up the file and bring it over.
That's for a very organized file system.
They have to have an organized file system. If you, everything you do in a cartoon is in a file system. Well, because that way
otherwise you can't find anything.
if you're doing a cartoon series, you use the same movements over and over again.
Oh, is that what it is?
So you keep them, you know, like in a feature film, they basically used to throw the cells away because there was no reason to keep them. Cartoon like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, The Road Runner, all of those things are kept because they can go back and use those pieces over again as something else. They just put a different background around it. Everything's kept. But the 3D, the 3D stuff is backroomed. So because it's backroomed, they don't have, if something happens, they have to do the whole thing all over again because they can't. They have to recreate it.
That's kind of a mess.
They don't have the files on hand to go over and grab. They've got, I mean, like, I've got multiple copies of our thing. You know, I've got it in its original uncut, and then I got it like in about 3 different versions of cut. But I've got, you know, like on 2 hard drives, on multiple DVDs, so that if something happens, because they will degenerate. The more you look at something, the more it degenerates. So we've got an original that doesn't get touched for almost any reason, you know, because if you once you put it back in, it starts the degeneration cycle. So you make, basically you make a new master off of that one, and that master will be a little bit less quality than the original. That's the problem with feature films. I mean, with computerized stuff. That's the problem with 3D. 3D makes it worse. You have I have a faster degeneration with 3D than I have without 3D.
Oh, interesting. Well,
because she's seen it. She saw what happens. The more the 3D has been ran, the more it starts to pixelate.
Oh, that's right, because they watched it so much that it...
Yeah, basically it wiped out, it basically destroyed the pixelation on the 3D thing. You don't have that problem with film. And as I was talking to people at the event we went to last night, there is a difference between feature film and video. Feature film has got a richer color. The video simply can't touch it. But I think a lot of the 3D stuff is video. It is not feature film. It is video. And like I said, because they are backrooming most of it, you can't. It's not. You don't have the original to work with because with artwork you go pick it up. The 3D stuff is done on the fly. And what happens if you don't have the same guy that did it the last time? What's going to happen in 20 years when the people that are, you know, because a lot of people my age are still doing the editing and stuff. Because
oh, really?
Yeah. Because they did it 60 years ago. They know what it's like to work in it, so you go get the people that have been working in this stuff for 30, 40, 50 years, and they do it. In 20 years, those people aren't going to be around. So they say, what did he do to get this the way it looked? I think he flipped this switch, and he flipped this switch, and he did this, and he put that in there. And because it's a conglomeration of pieces. The editor puts all of these pieces together. Those editors will not be there to recreate a thing if something happens because they are electronic. They're not saving film prints anymore. They're not doing film.
Not?
They don't. They have.
Oh, that's right, because they're just doing digital.
They're doing digital masters and having prints made into digital masters. But like I said, a digital master will deteriorate with each generation. So you're not going to, and you can't, as of the moment, there's nothing to fix that. So, I mean, the Toshiba is a good idea, but if it was a good idea, it would be here for Christmas and not setting in homes in Japan. So, I know, I grump about things. I go on and on, but...
We're still anxious to see it.
I know, because I've actually worked in the field. I know all the bloody problems. I mean, I sat there and talked for hours the other night to people about 3D that are the experts. Well, you've actually worked since '52? Yeah. I did some of the crappiest 3D stuff you've ever seen in your life. But they were deliberately set up to be done in 3D. That's the difference. Everything was an exaggeration. Throwing bows, shooting arrows, throwing, lances,
But you did it for that, so
gorillas tossing people over their shoulder, walking towards the camera, throwing things, throwing things at the camera, or Vincent Price in the House of Wax, overblown in a room with the stuff pouring and flowing out towards the, deliberately they drop dry ice into something to make it go towards the camera, but they had, basically if you watch carefully you could see the splatter screen that's in front of the camera being hit sometimes because they didn't want your cameras to get hit, so they put up a great big splatter screen in front that hits the screen, and they didn't quite get all of that cut out before it hits the screen. They want it to look like it's coming at you, but there's always a few frames. They never can precisely cut it to the last frame. They can today in digital, not in those days, because like I say, the sound sits in front of the picture. So anything you whack out here affects down there. So even though they do a dual track, you do the dual track, you say, oh Christ, there's some frames of that screen on the screen. So they have to go back and go with a little razor, go and put the pieces back together and go, if I know what I'm doing, no one's going to notice because it's going to be basically between a high and a low point. What they do is they have a editing outfit that basically shows you the sound. I edit by sound, I don't edit by pictures. And when I edit, I'll edit and when the sound is going down. And that's how you can do it. You look back to where the break is, or where you see the thing, you look at where the sound is went down, you go, and then you go up there on the other side where the sound is going down, and you got two pieces that are together that match. So, and it basically should work as long as they're two going down. You don't want to go on up, you want it going down. So when you put the pieces together, it's like when I'm doing my music editing, because she'll sit there and I edit by by what I'm listening to. I edit it when I do my arrangements. I edit where I can put the instruments together where the sound matches up. That's how I was taught. I'm a great arranger, but I edit because I edit by the sound where they go together neatly. Not you can't have a high and a low here because they go that's not good. You want so. But, like I said, we've done a thing on this set before, and as soon as we actually get to see one at CES, we'll probably blast it. Well, they're gonna be talking to people. You got the people gonna be walking off the side.
And you know what's gonna happen is I'm gonna come and I'm gonna be on screen. I'll be all excited about it, and he's gonna tell you the other side.
Oh, I know. I got in trouble last year at CES for telling everybody basically it's just an overlap of picture in picture. Who told you about this? Or,
That's what happens when you have somebody in animation.
Yeah, so they were happy with me. I'm unhappy with me. I go over to somebody else and they got a screen. Oh, it's a neat filter. You got a filter over that thing. That's how you don't need glasses. And they said, yeah. You get the very unhappy look on people's face. It's a room full of press people, but they're trying to, somebody is actually supposed to know what they're doing, and I tend to be the oldest one around. So, so when I'm going, folks, you won't see my knowledge around anymore when I'm going.
I know, that's a bad part.
So, but, you'll hear more, so until next time, this is OCam.
And this is Not a Spring Chicken here yesterday, today, and tomorrow in 2D as well as 3D. For more information, you can always go to
www.montybubbles.net on the net.
And wherever you're watching it, subscribe to us, follow us on Twitter, and thank you once again for over 40 million links on the internet.